Today we're going to be rebuilding the front brake master cylinder. It's got a really bad squeak to it, and front brake barely works. So let's get to it. First off, we're going to be using a Honda part 45530-MCA-006, and that is the master cylinder rebuild kit for the GL1800. So first we're going to have to remove this GPS unit. I use a Garmin Zumo 595. We'll just let it hang down there. And then using a flathead screwdriver and a 10mm wrench, we got to remove the handle from the brake lever. Just break the nut off the bottom and unscrew. Once that's out, we can remove the lever. Before we actually remove the reservoir, we should open up the top here and drain it as best we can. Make sure you're using a JIS bit so that you don't strip the screws. At this point, it's advisable to put something down here to catch any fluid you might spill. I have some really nice absorbent cloths that I buy in bulk. And if you get this brake fluid on your paint, it will destroy the paint. Pull the cover off. Clean that off a bit. And there's a little floaty thing in here. And I got a little bottle here that I use for bleeding brakes and stuff. And we can just stick the hose in here and we could probably suck a lot of this fluid out of here. It's nice clean fluid. I'm probably going to reuse it. There, we stabilized the master cylinder. Just kind of temporarily put it back on. And we can crack this banjo bolt. Oh man, she's tight. Okay, we got her loose. A little bit of force. We can pull that out. Catch any fluid that we might be losing. And then we can take it off of here, and last but not least, disconnect the switches. And then we have the master cylinder off the bike. There we go, and the switches are just behind this rubber boot. And remember what goes where. I think they're all different sizes, so it should be fine. Yeah, there we have it. So the first thing we want to do is we got to get this little metal retainer out of here. don't lose it. And what that does is it keeps the brake fluid from spraying back up through this return hole here. Make sure that return hole is clean and has nothing in it. That's what releases your brake when you let go of the lever. It lets the fluid back into the reservoir. So the next thing we want to do is we want to pull this boot off. Now this boot is part of the kit that I bought. The original boot was bad, so I just replaced it, but we could use a pick, and hopefully we can get it out of there without damaging it, and we can reuse it. Okay, I was able to get it out of there without wrecking it, but it does come with the kit even if you do damage it. So the next thing we have here is a snap ring inside, and it's under a bit of spring pressure, but we pop that snap ring and the whole assembly should just come on out of there. Have I got it? Okay, I finally got it. And there we go. Whole assembly. And we got a bit of corrosion in here. That's probably what's causing the problem, but we're going to get all that replaced, and brake should work perfectly again. So here's the new kit complete. New snap ring, new piston, new spring, and cover, and a little cup that goes on the end here holds the spring in place. So we could just put all this together. I could cover it all up with a little bit of brake fluid to give it some slipperiness. Let's see how this old one was. Yeah, it was just stuck on there like so. Big difference. In she goes. Oops, spring has to go in first, dummy. Get her all pushed in there. And the new snap ring. I'll come back once I get it in. Yeah, we got everything back together. New snap ring. And put the boot back on. And it's nice and smooth. Okay, next we want to put this little keeper back in. And it just pops into place. Like I said, it's just a little splash guard. There you go. And we're ready to mount this back on the bike and fill her up with fluid. Okay, back at the bike, ready to put this puppy back together. Let's put the wires back on the switches. And we can slide that boot back on. And we're ready to put it back in place. And make sure we didn't lose the crush washers. Should replace them, but I didn't have any with me, so we should be okay. And then that goes back in there. And we're not going to tighten it up totally because we need to bleed some air out of this. And we'll do it right here when we get it all back together. The next is the ram mount. Okay, found the bit. And I usually have this ram mount up as high as it'll go. Tight enough, nothing's moving. Nice and solid. Brake lever, put it back in. That bottom's out, and the nut, and a 10mm wrench. Nice and smooth, not squeaking anymore. But let's get some fluid in it and see how that goes. Make sure you're using .4 brake fluid and just pour it in. And now the fun part, we get to bleed this. You can see some bubbles coming out. We're just going to bleed until we get stuff dripping down here. So the next step is the tough part, really, bleeding the front brake. So we've got to pull off this piece, and this piece. The procedure is to bleed the right top bleeder on the cylinder on here and the bottom bleeder on the left side. So let's take things apart and get to it. Okay, to get at the bleeders, we have to pull the fender off. Need 2 screws on this side. And that just lifts off. And then we have 2 screws on the back. And of course they're not going to cooperate with me. Turn this a little more. There we go. Boing. the right hand side, we have two bleeder screws, one here, one here. The top one is for the front master cylinder. And because the brakes are linked, we have several pistons in here, but this one is what we want to bleed off of here. I do believe that's an 8mm. It'd help if I had an 8. This is a 10. Here we go. Okay, so there, and we can attach a hose to that.
Eventually.
Okay, so I ended up using a Mighty Vac, and it helps a lot in bleeding brakes. So you can see how much fluid we drain through, and I now have good pressure on the brake lever. So that's it for this video, and we'll just button her all back up and be on our merry way.
A little later.
All right, got the brakes all bled, master cylinder replaced. Time for a ride. We're going to go to a beautiful fall November afternoon. Good time to test out the brakes and see how everything's working. So let's get the gloves on. Wearing winter gloves today. It's not that warm, but I think it's about 10, 11 degrees. Oh, hey, we got brakes. Plug in the headset. Charging power for the battery. Of course, it's upside down, it's a USB. There's the joke about the guy that invented the USB port. When he died, they buried him. They had to dig him up and turn him over. Do it right. Let's go for a ride. Let's see how we're doing for brakes. Oh yeah. Good brakes. The sun is shining. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's beautiful out.